I feel the need for speed.
Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Hey kids, I'm Mike,
I'm PJ.
and today we're going to be discussing our favorite Tom Cruise films. A Final Reckoning just came out. PJ and I have not seen it yet, but PJ and I felt, this is a big turning point for Tom's career. So it's the
Absolutely.
Final Reckoning. It's the end of his huge franchise. So we want to kind of go to it's not a ranking, folks. We're just kind of just discuss some of our favorite films, and then what's next for Tom and his career. Okay, this is a big thing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a retrospective of the career, the Hollywood career of Mr. Cruise.
Perfect word, PJ. Yes. So to start things off, I posed a question to PJ that we're going to discuss. So what's the first Tom Cruise movie you remember seeing?
All right. I honestly think the first Tom Cruise film that I saw, I was looking through his list, and I think it may have been Interview with a Vampire.
Wow. Okay,
I
okay. That's
think,
definitely
'cause-
one of the early ones for me. Yeah, no question.
yeah, because that came out in '94.
Yep.
So I feel like that was probably the first one that I remember seeing. I don't know, 94, how old would I have been?
Like
Nine?
nine.
8 or
Yeah.
9, depending on what month it came out, right? And I don't know that I really understood the full story of that movie at that
Yeah.
point, but I do remember seeing it and just Brad Pitt's in that movie also.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I remember watching it and just being like, wow, this is like different from what I would normally watch. But I think the first movie I watched of his and I like remember like the
hmm
story and was into the story, it was probably Jerry Maguire.
Wow. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting. All those ones I did see as a kid. I remember my dad renting them from like Blockbuster.
Yep.
But for me, vividly, I just remember Top Gun was actually the first movie I
Okay.
remember seeing it. I felt it was on like, you know, Channel 11 here in New York. It was like always the same movies. Always like Back to
Yep.
the Future, Jaws, Rocky 4 was always on. It's like Top Gun was always on. It's like those
Days of
same.
Thunder,
Yes, yes, that was always
another
on.
Tom Cruise movie, but yeah, Days of Thunder always on.
Yep, of course. Yeah, all those things were like on repeat. I just remember like of course, Highway to the Danger Zone, that song was on,
Yep.
and just those obviously the montage scene in Top Gun. So yeah, I remember that's I think the first film I remember seeing of him, and then yeah, I remember my dad renting Interview with the Vampire. Yeah, I love that movie. That's on my list. I definitely want to talk about that. So yeah, so Tom's been with us for a long time, PJ. So,
Yeah, he's been turning out real hits for a long time. He gets a lot of hate from a lot of people, and I know
mhm,
some of it's the Scientology thing, whatever. But some people just really take it so far and just
right.
continue that hate with him, and they won't watch his movies or give him any respect because of that. And I don't know. I just feel like he's not as respected as some of the other big name actors
Yeah.
out there, even though he's been around just as long, does so many different films and so many different genres and does them well.
Yeah.
I just feel like people look at him on a lower level than everyone else.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's like, look, we're not excusing any kind of behaviors that he's done. Like I said, he's into Scientology. All I can say is, folks, like Tom Cruise is like the rest of us. We're all flawed people. So,
Yeah,
newsflash, he's human like the rest of
yeah,
us. All of us have negatives and things that we regret doing or not proud of, or we we have a lot of people, I think, more than anything today. People are very stubborn with their views about things,
yep.
political for sure. So we're not really that much different from Mr.
From old
Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, um. But yeah, PJ, I kind of want to talk about some of our favorites before we get to what's next for Tom in his career. So, PJ, I'm going to start off with this film. This is for me, folks. I'm picking up. These are my favorites. I mean, he has an incredible catalog of films, but this is one of my favorites. It's from 1986. It's called The
Hmm.
Color of Money. This is a Martin Scorsese film that's kind of been like in my opinion, like a forgotten gem. It
Yeah.
is a sequel to The Hustler with Paul Newman. Tell you the truth, I actually like this film better than The
Hmm.
Hustler. Um, Hustler's highly regarded for me. I think The Hustler, the first, I'll say it's a 2 hour film. The first hour is great, and the second half for me just falls apart. So, I don't really like The
Yeah, I could
Hustler
see
as
that.
much as people love it. But anyway, Paul Newman won an Oscar for this film. But I know this is about Tom, but yeah, I love Tom's character in this film. I actually quote one of his lines in that movie all the time. Um, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a scene in this movie where he gets some sweet revenge. It's just about playing pool, folks. He's a pool
Hmm.
hustler. Um, where Paul Newman kind of takes him under his wing, how to hustle people, and
Yep.
eventually he does a tournament in Atlantic City. But there's this great line where Tom goes like, "It's like a nightmare. It keeps getting worse," and he kind of someone uses that against him, and then he uses that line against that his opponent. It's kind of like getting revenge. But I love that line. I say that line all the time if I'm having a bad day at work or in my personal life. It's a nightmare, and it keeps getting worse.
Yeah,
So
that is a
I
good
love that
line.
movie. Love that movie, and it's so good. And this is a common thread. You're gonna hear me guys in this episode. Just a warning. You're gonna hear me say this often. They're not gonna make movies like this
No, they're
anymore.
not.
No way. So a movie
Absolutely
like
not.
this, I can't. Could you even imagine them making a movie about shooting pool? Like, you,
No,
no way. Unless it's gonna be like a, you know, I don't know, some kind of. I don't even know what kind of movie. They wouldn't be. It wouldn't even be made today. Just would
no,
not
I,
be.
I
Or
don't
it'd
think
just be
movies like
on.
that.
It'd be streaming. It'd be a bunch of no-namers that
It
no one
almost
even
feels
know.
like too small.
Yes.
They don't make
Yes.
movies in small scale anymore. They have
Yeah.
to be that elaborate, just
Yeah.
shared universe, big blockbuster. That's all they make now. They don't do
Yeah.
small
Hmm.
films. They don't
Yeah.
do intimate settings. They don't do that
Yeah.
character-driven stuff anymore.
Exactly. And this is like I said, this film's not gonna blow your mind.
Yeah,
It's not the greatest movie of all time. It's not even Tom Cruise's best movie, but I like it because it's a fun movie to watch. This is a movie
yeah,
that you would rent definitely back in the day. If you put it on now, you're gonna be like, you know what? I want to watch the end of this. It just starts and you want to keep going. And I forgot the actress's name. I think it's her Gina from Scarface is in it. I'm pretty
yep,
sure that's the I don't know. I can't memorize her name, but anyway, you have Tom Cruise. Paul Newman, and then directed by Martin Scorsese. How could you not want to watch, at least not watch it, just based off that?
yeah,
So, really cool movie. And if you and your buddies back in the day went to the pool hall, like I did, PJ and I used to go
yeah. We used
like
to go all the
frequent.
time.
Yeah. So,
It was right down the block from my house.
yeah, I love that place. Miss it dearly. So, yeah, check out The Color of Money with Tom Cruise. PJ, what do you
Shout
got?
out to
Hmm.
Leisure Time Pool Hall.
Yes. Hmm.
That was the name. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep. Rest in peace. Yeah.
yeah. It was a great place. We spent so much time there.
Hmm.
I picked for my first movie. Uh, and I don't look. I don't think this movie is underrated. I don't think this movie is a hidden gem. I think everyone has seen it, but I think it has one of the best scenes in cinema in it ever.
Yes.
I picked A Few Good Men.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean that movie is a great, just masterclass of acting,
Yep.
honestly. But the reason I pick it, and then also before I get into why I pick it, the cast on this, you got Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore, Kevin Bacon. Um, I think Kiefer Sutherland is in that too.
Yep.
There's like just a whole bunch of people that you've heard of in this movie, fantastic actors. But that court scene,
Yeah.
that I mean, it's brilliant, and
Hmm.
that's a movie that's still kind of early into his career. It's not
Yes.
like we're talking about a 2000s movie here. What that movie came out in what year was that?
91 maybe?
92.
Okay, here
92
we
it came
go.
out. So
Hmm.
it's still relatively early into his career. I don't think he has a 10-year-old career at that point.
No, no, not at
And
all.
to be able to go toe to toe in a scene like that with Jack Nicholson and come across as believable and come across as not, you know, as a just overshadowed by what was happening around him. I think that scene is brilliant. I don't think we could talk about a Tom Cruise retrospect without mentioning that movie just because of how great he is in it. You know, and a lot of you might I don't know if it's luck of the draw for Tom Cruise, but I was going through all of his movies. He's always surrounded by great actors.
Yeah.
I don't know
Mm,
that he has a movie where it's like the co-lead or the person he's interacting with the most is just a shitbag.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
always surrounded by the best. I don't know if that was just luck in the beginning and then by design when he got famous. I don't know if it's he only ever agreed to work with the top. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's all the Scientology and he's
Right.
he's a he's at a level so high in Scientology that he only gets the
Right.
you know
It's like it's a, right.
I don't know what it is, but that makes his movie so much better because he is a great actor. He's acting with the best actors, and they're putting on these big, 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 but believable performances. It's unbelievable. I think he was great. I love that courtroom scene so much. Sometimes I go on YouTube, I just watch it.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely, Pete. That's a great pick. And I was gonna say also, like you said, like that scene doesn't not like everyone talks about like Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth. It's Tom is
It's
making
Tom
him.
Cruise.
Yes, he's the one
He's the
who
one
really.
making it.
Yeah, he's you know like did you put in the code right? You goddamn right. But like you need Tom to do that to elevate
Yeah,
it.
it
So.
doesn't work without
Hmm.
him.
Hmm.
It doesn't, and he does it in a way where you could just see why it's getting under the skin of Jack Nicholson, and he's just, uh, uh, that's great. Go right after you finish listening to our episode, Cool Kids. Go on YouTube and just rewatch that scene, and you just realize that Tom Cruise is making Jack Nicholson so much better in that scene,
Yep.
and it's not the other way around.
Yep. Exactly. And goes another thing. I'm not. I think that a movie like that would be made today. It'd be just directly on streaming. Kind of like
Yeah,
um what's some with the one Best Picture or no, I'm like something like a Lincoln. Where
yeah.
it's not gonna get a lot of. I mean, I don't think A Few Good Men got a you know huge like box office back. I think just like any other movie at the
Does
time.
any, yeah.
Yeah.
But no one got
But
box offices like today back then anyway.
yeah.
But yeah, a movie like that, you could make it today. It would be a different setting, I think. I don't think they would be I think they would probably be like, the wars that go on today, sort of a setting, but I think it would still work.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can modernize that.
Yeah. No question. So for my next pick, PJ, you kind of talked about, but I want to talk about even more is 94's Interview with the Vampire. Like we
Hmm.
said, another great cast. You have Cruz, Brad Pitt, Kirsten Dunst, Christian Slater in the beginning, and then
Yeah.
Antonio Banderas is in it.
Yep.
Um, and another one like where he, you know, he plays Lestat in this film. It's just like it's probably one of his most unlikable characters because you kind of hate
Absolutely.
his character and like in the
Yep.
movies he's usually the hero. He's usually like the and
Yeah.
to play against Brad Pitt, which is the hero of the film, and it's part of you that feels like, oh, you kind of understand Lestat. He's like this evil guy, he's a vampire, this
Yep.
kind of comes with the territory. He says, look, this is what you signed up for, Brad Pitt. Of course, there's like some, and it's more deeper than that, but oh man, every time he comes on screen, especially as the film goes on, there's a sense of dread, and Kirsten Dunst's character, forget
Yeah.
her name, she kind of, you know, helps convince Brad to get rid of him, you know, and he's just so slimy in that film towards the end, and how he like kind of complains about Louis. That's Brad Pitt's
Yep.
character. He's
Brad
just like,
Pitt.
oh Louis, oh he's complaining and just so good. And he really can stand. And at the end of that film, he steals the show. He has the last scene
Yeah.
of the film, and he
Yeah.
steals it. And I just love that film. And here I go again. Do I think they would make a vampire film today? Sure, but it would be about vampire hunters and kills and blowing people up, blah 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 blah. A movie like this is just a
They they
dramatic movie. That's all.
remade they
Oh, I didn't
remade
even know.
Interview with the Vampire
I
as a
did not
TV
know that.
show. They
What?
did it as a TV show on AMC. Walking Dead was on AMC, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is AMC. It was the same station. It was done much differently. It wasn't the same like format as the movie because it's a TV show. You got to change it up to make it
Hmm.
fill 2 seasons, let alone 2 hours. So it's a lot different.
Oh yeah.
It's nowhere near as good as the movie. It it's watchable, I guess. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it was, but they have tried to remake it, and I felt like they went too far in trying to make it. I hate using the word woke.
Oh okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's not the word that I'm looking for here.
Yeah.
But it just that's kind of the vibe you get. To like, oh, we got to make sure we do X, Y,
Yeah.
and Z to make it fit with what the audiences want today. And I think that hurt it a little bit. They took out a lot of stuff. There was no like younger character like Kirsten Dunst or anything like
All
that,
right.
which I guess I understand why they did that.
Yeah.
But they did try to remake it, and they've made a few TV shows based on Anne Rice works. I think I think Witches was on AMC also.
Oh okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I feel like the '90s had a specific tone and vibe that really worked with the because
Yeah.
I like The Crow is an example of it too. Like
Yep.
almost that neo-gothic,
Yes.
backdrop for all these movies and the way the actors looked and the way they performed really made these movies stand out, but they are a bit of a product of their time, right? Because those movies, I think if you sometimes show them to a younger audience today, I don't think they'll get it. But I think that backdrop, that tone, that vibe of that gothic, dramatic, almost operatic look and feel to these movies really sell the story in such a big way. It makes them feel more important. That's the way I feel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I think with the especially films from the 90s, there was a lot of variety. There were really smaller scale films. Like going to the movies was like something you did on the weekends. I mean, yes, it was a lot more affordable and more fairly priced, but like I said, you're not gonna. I feel like this. If you show a person say almost like, well, it's not huge. It's not this like you can tell the film is not supposed to be this huge scale, even
Right.
though it's about vampires.
Yep.
It's a very small, uh, tight story. Like you said,
Yeah.
character driven. Well acted. Like there's not really, I mean, towards the end of the film, I guess you could say it's an action scene. I guess.
Right.
But the most of it is just kind of just dramatic. There's a lot of talking in it. You know what I mean? It's not really.
Yeah, they just don't make films like that as much
No
anymore.
way.
Everything has to be big and elaborate, but I think you just miss
Like
it
and
used to be
that.
the actors driving these films by their
Yeah.
performance, and now
hmm
it's just the performances are hidden by the spectacle of it all. It doesn't
Yeah.
make for the
And
same
I
feel of a movie.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And when it comes to like, I'll say like a lot of messaging or all that kind of the wokeness and I could say I think PJ and I are very fair when it comes to politics or cultural things or social um uh components. And I don't have a problem if a film or TV show is going to have some type of political view. I don't really mind that, but it's about doing
No,
it well and like it becomes you don't want your whole show just to be like someone on top of a soapbox as it starts taking away from it. You could
and it
do it
gets
subtly.
exhausting to watch.
Yeah,
It's
or you do
like,
it metaphorically like we talked about in the
yeah,
past, like Roger Rabbit. People don't realize that's really about a lot of that's about like corruption. Back and it's a lot of
yep,
metaphors there, how they didn't let certain
yep,
ethnicities perform in bars and due to their skin color. That's why the tunes weren't allowed to. They were allowed to perform in the bar. But they weren't
yep.
actually be
Of
allowed to be patrons there.
patrons in the
So,
bar. Yep.
yeah, so there's a lot of those things are very subtle. So, but yeah, awesome movie though. I mean, like I said, I can't even imagine. I didn't even know there was a TV show. So it
Yeah,
says it right there.
I wouldn't recommend watching it, but it's if it's on, you might
Yeah.
check it.
Okay.
I have a real different kind of pick for my next one,
All
though.
right. I'm excited.
This is a more modern movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't even go so far as to say he's the star of the movie, though I will say he steals the show in every
I
scene
think
that
I
he's
know you're
in.
gonna. Yep.
I went with Rock of Ages,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
where he plays Stacy Jacks. I'm a sucker for a movie with a good soundtrack,
Oh yeah.
and I mean that movie is all 80s music and stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
There are scenes that he is in that are so over the top, and like the look of that character, the look of
Yep.
Stacey Jacks is that it's not at all what you picture Tom Cruise doing,
Yeah.
because you
Mm-hmm.
picture him as this well-respected, serious actor. I do anyway.
Yeah.
He doesn't do. He's done comedies, but they're usually bit parts, and
Yes.
it's a goof, and he moves on or whatever. But you think of him in these more serious roles or action roles, and then for him to come out as Stacey Jacks, this comedic, over the top rock star, and I believe he did his own singing and stuff for this movie. I think
Yeah.
I read,
Yeah. Mm.
and he does that good too. And then you realize this motherfucker could do anything.
Yes.
He can
Mhm.
act. He can sing. He can. He's just a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
I think that movie is. I don't know if it's underrated or overrated. I think it exists in the world where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I just
Mhm.
think he doesn't get the credit for that movie as
Yeah.
being able to pull that off.
Exactly. Like you said, he's singing and he's dancing.
Yeah.
He's doing
Yeah.
choreography, the whole shebang.
He's
And he's
doing
doing a
all of it.
musical. It's a musical.
Yeah, it's a
That's
musical.
very hard to do. That's very hard to do.
And if for a guy that's not his thing.
Exactly.
He's a guy that does action. He's a guy that does drama. To drop him in the singing and dancing and comedic, and I don't know. I just think I think this guy's range. I think of all the movies, like when you talk about the ones we've already
Yeah.
discussed, they're more serious. To see the range this guy had, I don't know if he could have done this movie in the 90s or the
Yeah.
80s. I don't know that he could have done it then. I think he's built up his skill set and his persona and everything else to get to
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I think that movie is so watchable. Every time it's on TV, you're not going to turn it off.
Yep.
And
hmm
every scene that he's in, he steals it. Um,
You're
that and
excited
yeah,
when he comes
yeah,
on. You're excited to see.
yeah.
You know.
And it's another movie with a cast that like
Yes.
you
Bang.
know
Yeah.
they got. Hold on, let me pull up the cast for that movie because it has more people in it than I think people realize in that one too. What we got? Julianne Hough, who is
Oh
pretty
yeah.
famous from Dancing with the Stars, is in that
Yep.
movie.
hmm
Alec Baldwin's in it. Russell Brand is in that movie, who I know a lot of people don't like Russell Brand,
I
but
like him. Yeah. I
I
know he
think
kind of
he's
fell off, but yeah, I liked him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston's in that movie.
Wow. I did not know. It's been a very
Catherine
long time.
Zeta-Jones is in that movie.
That makes sense. I
I
guess right.
yeah
I'm like I said, I haven't seen that movie in a long time, man.
yeah I think if
What
I
was that
remember
like
correctly,
2008 or something like that?
2012 I think.
Oh,
I
oh, okay.
feel like if I'm not mistaken, Malin Ackerman was in that movie also. I think.
Okay, okay. She's
I
from
think she may
Watchmen.
have
Yep.
been. Yeah, I don't know why, but I think she was in it. I think they have one of the sex scenes is with Tom Cruise and Malin Ackerman, if I remember correctly. Will Forte, Mary J. Blige. I mean, again, this is just my proving my point from before.
Yeah.
This dude's always surrounded by A-listers when he
Yep.
makes a movie, and
hmm
he's surrounded by people that elevate others, and he's elevating them.
Yep.
That's how good he is in a
hmm
movie. I'm a
Yeah.
big Tom Cruise fan.
Yeah. hmm Yeah. And obviously, you know, sounds like he's easy to work with. You know, casting's not going to
Seems like
cast the
it.
guy, even if he makes bank, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And they're not going to put you on these films with other these kind of ensembles. So, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, great choice. Actually, I thought you were going to say Tropic Thunder because I think he
That's
also kind
another
of
great
he's
movie.
another
Yeah.
scene stealer. For my next pick, it's Eyes Wide Shut, 1999, Eyes Wide Shut.
Nicole Kidman's in that.
Yes, I think they were still married at the
Mrs.
time
Cruise,
too.
the ex Mrs. Cruise. Yeah.
Yes. I was just directed by Stanley Kubrick, his last film,
hmm
and he plays Dr. William Hartford. And look, if you've never seen this movie, it's. I mean, they don't make movies like this definitely anymore. Kubrick's dead. But this is just one of those movies where like you're fasten your seatbelt because you're just like you don't know where this movie's gonna go.
Yep.
It's a I don't want to say it's a weird film. It's just a very interesting, and it's for me, it gets actually kind of very intense. It's kind of just makes you feel uncomfortable. And I feel like
Yep.
Tom Cruise, and I put this in here, he's very, very good at playing like, I think in general, I feel like in Hollywood or even the Oscars, they don't really give praise of it. Like they call it playing the straight man or the everyman.
hmm
It's very hard to pull that off. Like for instance, I think Leo DiCaprio should have been nominated for playing Jack from Titanic. People just say no, he's just
Yeah.
playing like the regular guy, but that's very hard. I think we're like I said, I think sometimes the villains are more interesting. I get all that, but it's hard to play the everyman, and I think Tom Cruise
Yep.
plays that really well. And in this movie, he's just a regular dude. He's just a doctor. He gets in a fight with his wife, and then he, I don't want to spoil it. He just goes onto this journey. He
Yeah.
basically says like, F it, I'm gonna go on this journey, into this secret party, and you know what I mean? And he bites off more than he can chew,
Yeah. It's a
and
very like cerebral movie. Like it's
yes,
really in your head, that movie.
yeah, and it's just one of those things. Like I said, it's like I said, I can't memorize the whole cast, but I mean, like, Kubrick already had so many great
Yep.
films, and like I feel like that's another testament. Like, if Kubrick's gonna put you in the film, you got to be legit. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah,
for him
he's
to,
not gonna put someone.
yeah, no, so for him to put him in his film, that's for me, that's a very high, that's high praise.
Yeah,
That's
and
shows you how
this
good you
movie
are.
had Nicole Kidman was in that.
Yep.
Sydney
hmm
Pollack is in that.
Yep.
Trying to see if there's anyone else. Bunch of people, but
Yeah.
not this one has a lot of the people that Kubrick would use in it. Not like
hmm
all the big name people you normally use. He has
Yeah.
the Kubrick cast in it,
Yeah.
but it was
hmm
really that's a good movie, and it's a cerebral, intense is the right word.
Yeah. hmm
It's a movie that they wouldn't make today.
No way. No way. No way. No way.
No.
Even when it came out, it was very controversial. I think
Yes, I
he
remember
passed
that.
away a few days before his release. They did like a re-edit.
Yes.
I was just there's sex scenes in it. Or just sexual scenes actually. So
And was he married to Nicole Kidman
Uh,
before this movie?
yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
remember. He
yeah. He
was
was
okay
married to her for a pretty long
for
time.
a
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe like 10 years at that point, maybe. So,
Wow.
or close to it. Yeah, he's been with her. He was with her for a while.
Okay.
But yeah, love that film, and I love his performance in that film. Like I said, playing the
Yeah.
regular everyman who gets into um,
Trouble.
yes, is a very hard thing
It's
to pay off. I mean, like it's really hard to 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 showcase that. It's very difficult, you know? So,
and I felt like
mhm.
when I watched that movie, that's not a movie where you're not even really rooting for or against him in that movie. You're just you
Exactly my
don't
point. Yeah,
he's just there and you're just on this journey with him.
yeah,
You're like, what
exactly.
is gonna
Right.
happen to this guy next?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's hard to pull off to be
It
that
really
character,
is.
you know?
Yeah.
Because someone else, another person could be all of a sudden try to be more like heroic. He plays it just as if we were got in this situation.
Yep.
Like, no, like, yeah,
Yeah, he's not a hero in this movie,
yeah,
but
he's
he's
just
not
a
a villain.
regular
He's
guy who
not
got,
yeah,
yeah, in
just a
this
dude,
weird situation, you know?
And you almost don't even really care what happens to him. You just want to see what happens to him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Which is a hard movie to write.
Yes.
Because I mean, you're writing a movie where you need usually you building up a character to get to like a thematic climax. So this guy's really got,
Right.
he's the hero, he saved the day, or he's the villain and he got beat, or whatever. And then this is just like, nope, there's just more stuff happening.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yep.
Let's see. My next one is Jerry Maguire.
Oh yeah.
You know, this movie's so memorable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
Show Me the Money. People still say Show Me the
Yeah.
Money.
And he won an
You
Oscar
know,
for that too, Cuban Gooding Jr., you
he
know?
did. Yeah.
So,
I think old Tom could have won something for this one too,
yep, no
as
question.
Jerry.
Yep.
Yeah. Another movie with a hell of a cast. Cuba's in
Yep.
this. You get Renee Zellweger in
Yep.
this. You get Kelly Preston in this. Jerry O'Connell, Jane Moore.
Wow.
Tons of people.
Right.
The kid in this movie is great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually like kids in movies, but he's not a star of the movie. The kid, he's a
Yeah.
plot device.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I think he does a good job. Um, one of the reasons why I like this movie. I don't know, you ever watch the show Arliss?
No.
Arliss was an HBO show with I always forget his name, Robert Wuhl, and he plays a sports agent, right? And they're always trying to sign the athletes, and they would always have like real athletes on the show, like playing themselves, like
Yeah.
acting as themselves, and he's trying to sign them to their agency. And I always love that. And this is like another sports agent in that same vein. And I just love that kind of stuff, right? Because we all like sports. We watch
Yeah.
sports. We've had plenty of episodes where we talk about the Super Bowl or baseball and all this other stuff. So I just love the setting of that movie. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's a sports movie without being a sports movie. And I like that. I think Cuba sells that movie a lot too. What's his name? Rod Tillwell or something like that, I think the character's name is. Um, Again, he's a great, like, the way he interacts with Tom Cruise, a great foil for him. Like, Tom Cruise in that movie is not over the top,
Yeah.
which is the whole point, because Cuba Gooding is, and he's like, I'm not going to sign with you until you show me, say it, show me the money, say it.
Yeah.
Like that whole scene of how he has to like come out of his shell and match that level of excitement, yelling, show me the money. That they're watching him from outside the office, like, what the fuck is this lunatic doing? And because he's trying to start up the old firm, and that he needs this to work, because if it doesn't, this whole venture of trying to start his own,
Yeah.
you know, group, his own business, is not going to work. His own agency won't work, so he needs it. He has to do that. I think it's a great acting. I think it's great acting in that movie.
Yes, I agree. And it's like goes back, like I said before, like I guess a movie like this could be made, but I don't know if it could be pulled off as well. You know what I mean? Just with the amount of talent that's in it, and just like it's like I said, it's tight, and it's just
You know why it
so
works?
it's just man, it's just
The,
they don't
the
make movies. I don't know,
story
if it's- I don't know
works
what do you call it,
because
PJ? Like, do they even make romance? Is it a romantic comedy? I'm not sure if you really call
I
it
guess
that.
kind of with him and Renee
But they don't even
Zellweger, I
make
guess
those
it's
anymore
kinda-
either. That's the
No,
crazy
they
thing. They don't
don't.
even make those movies anymore,
If
which
they
is
do, it's like
unbelievable.
straight to Netflix or Hallmark movies.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly. And they're
the
horrendous.
thing with that too is like back then you didn't have these athletes making bajillion-dollar contracts every year, getting re-upped for like a
Yes.
guaranteed $1 trillion. So now can you make a movie like that when in the real world, there is no shortage of money to pay an athlete, right?
Yes.
All right, how much do you want? $17 billion to throw a pitch? Okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have it. The Steinbrenners have it. Like Jerry
Yeah.
Jones is paying whatever he wants to the Cowboys. Like it's not the same thing where it's like you have this setting where you need to get this athlete. This guy wants to get paid. No one's getting paid this much money yet. Now I feel like it doesn't work. I feel like it doesn't land because
Yeah.
we live in a different time period, a different world where money clearly means nothing to a sports franchise. So, why is Tom Cruise character struggling at that point if that movie happens today to get money for his athlete? It
Yeah.
doesn't work.
No, I agree. Yeah. I think also just kind of just with Tom Cruise, he's very passionate about filmmaking. So like
Yes.
he's like I'm not saying other actors wouldn't take like a pay cut, but like he does these, which I'm gonna get into, other like experimental films and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
other ones just kind of want to just, which I understand they want to do this for a living, so they want to keep making bank, blah blah blah. I get all that, but he has a real passion for film, and he wants to be versatile.
Yep.
He wants to do different shit. So
Yeah, he absolutely does.
hmm
You can tell by his filmography.
Yep.
He's never doing the same thing twice in a row.
Yep. The next film I want to talk about is like I said, another one that I don't think it would even be made today. You could argue it's not a perfect film, blah blah blah, but it's Vanilla Sky.
Ooh, I had that on my list.
Nice, 2001. I love this film. I love the soundtrack to this film. I love the whole mystery for it. PJ, I always think of you when I see oh my God, Kurt Russell. For some reason, I feel like he's a PJ guy. Like Kurt,
All right.
so I feel like he's like one of your actors, Kurt
Uh-huh.
Russell. He's in this film, and Cameron Diaz is in this film.
Yep.
Um,
Penelope Cruz.
Penelope Cruz, yes. Was it Jason Lee, right? Yep.
Yeah, Jason Lee.
Yeah. And folks, all I can say is, if you've never seen this film, is it a perfect film? Look, I love this film, but sometimes break its balls. But it is a remake.
Yep, it
But
is.
I don't know if that takes it down a notch. I don't even know. But regardless, it's just creative. You can't walk away from that film. You could say, "Oh, I don't like it," or blah blah blah. Fine, but you can't say it's not creative. And like I said, he's just. It's dreamlike, and his performance is great in it. Like I said, he plays so many like layers to it. He plays a disfigured man, a tortured man,
Yep.
a miserable man, a paranoid man. I quote this movie all
Yeah.
the time when I'm having a stressed out. I literally run around and I go, "Tech support!" It's a fucking nightmare. So I say that all the time. So I love his performance in this film, and I love the whole film in
Yeah.
general. It's
It's a
weird.
good movie.
It's just-
Underrated for sure.
It's nothing like it. They can't make a
Uh-huh.
sequel out of it. It's a movie that when you saw it at the time, even if you
Yeah.
loved it or hated it, you can't say it's not creative, it's not unique. It really is a piece of art, And yeah, I just love it. PJ, you've seen obviously the scene on the
Yeah.
side when he's in the car with Cameron Diaz, that whole scene.
Yep.
I think all of
Mhm.
us have had maybe an ex-girlfriend, and maybe not, hopefully not as as like her, to that
Yeah.
extreme, but like I think we've been in relationships, that can be very, toxic and
Yeah.
and you're like, whoa, 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 wait, you get that feeling, wait a minute, and
Yep.
things go sideways. But oh man, just like I said, the whole movie is just surreal, interesting, and like I said before, the soundtrack, so many unique songs, and just just their use of color in that
Penelope
film.
Cruz is a knockout, by the way.
Oh yeah, oh she's low. I think he ended up dating her. I think right after that.
In
Or-
real life?
Yeah, he dated her for a short time. I'm not sure.
Good
Maybe
for
it was right
him.
after that film. But yeah, I remember like the
Good for you, Tom Cruise.
yeah, there was like a joke. Like they said to her like, "Are you gonna keep your maiden name?" So it'd be like Penelope Cruz. So hyphen it at the time if they were to get married. But yeah.
I remember that now. I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just
Oh
with
yeah.
that movie,
Oh yeah.
I just want to say that when I was going through the list, I had this one on my list also. The thing that stuck out for me on this was that I didn't remember that movie is as old as it was.
Mm.
I did not realize that came out in 2001.
Yeah.
I don't know why I felt like that came out
Yeah.
way later. That one really shocked me when I was going
Yeah.
through. I'm like,
And the movie
Jesus,
still looks great.
that's what I mean. It doesn't look like it came out in
Yeah.
2001.
Film
The
really
story
well.
doesn't necessarily feel like it couldn't be. That's a movie that
Yeah.
really did not realize it was over 20 years old.
Yeah, and that's another thing, a famous thing about that production is they shut down Times Square from like I forgot
Yeah.
like 4 in the morning till like 6 in the
Hmm.
morning for him to run around such iconics and him running around in Times Square
Yeah.
completely empty, you know.
Yep.
So the next time it was that empty was COVID, you know.
Yeah.
After that, it's always
Yeah.
been
It's
even
always just packed.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Two franchises on my list,
Sure.
and there's not much to say other than they're both like crazy
Yep.
huge. Mission Impossible,
Yep. Oh yeah.
right? Look,
Hmm.
the first one came out in '96,
Wow.
and
We just
the
graduated
new,
elementary school, PJ.
yeah, we just graduated elementary school. I saw the first one in the theaters. I remember seeing that in the theater.
Hmm.
Um, the newest one came out in 2025.
Yeah.
This franchise has lasted like it was
Close.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Close to 30 years. Yeah.
Close to 30 years. Like this franchise is a middle-aged man, this franchise. Like
Right.
it's you know what I mean? Like how is it it has to be good. You know what I mean? Like I can't think of any other franchise. And I'm not talking about like superhero franchises where it's like, oh, you can keep recasting Batman and
Yeah.
they'll go
Hmm.
forever. I don't
Yeah.
mean that. I mean, I can't think of another franchise outside of maybe Rocky and Rambo where where somebody has been the same character
Yeah.
for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And it's still engaging and entertaining and doesn't feel like a repeat.
Yeah, even like a James Bond, obviously those two are always compared in the secret agent kind of
Yeah.
type of thing. But
Yeah.
even that, absolutely, yeah. Just, I mean, um, I saw a meme the other day. They said, like, in terms of like parodies, another thing, like the first one, he like, he goes on that rappelling rope and he just stops. That
Yeah.
scene in the Matrix with the bullets were like
Hmm.
and they transformed and him throwing the
Yeah.
sunglasses like they become these iconic things that people do all the time and he did that. I think that one of the best things that came out of the Mission Impossible franchise, I know Peach, I know you've seen this, is when MTV, I think they still have the music awards or movie
Yeah, they do.
awards, but it's when
Yeah.
Ben Stiller was like his stunt double like in a bit like
Yes.
for like a
I
one
remember
of those
that.
things and that was they both do that. They're able to impersonate each other's laugh. I mean, it's so good. People check that out on YouTube. Just type in Tom Cruise, Ben Stiller. It's so funny. It's really good. Hey, maybe that's how he met him to do Tropic Thunder. They probably said, "Hey, we have
Maybe.
good, you should come do this film." I don't know, folks.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And then the
Mission.
other franchise that I
Yeah.
had was it's only two movies, although I think they are making a third is Top Gun.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize that. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Top
I
Gun.
hear they're doing a third.
Yeah. I love Maverick. I actually think Maverick's better than Top Gun
I
more.
think so too. I agree.
Which is, you know, um,
100% agree.
so I mean, excellent, excellent, excellent. Um, Yeah, I mean, so good. The only thing I had last on my list is I just wanted to just talk about his. I think people forget about what this movie's even about is Risky Business. That's really his breakout role. He got
Mm,
noticed from The Outsiders. It came out the same years as The Outsiders, so 83. So
yep.
Risky Business. So this is a scene that everyone knows where he comes out in his underwear and everyone thinks
Yep.
it's like this lighthearted comedy, like it's gonna be like an old school or like that kind of movie, some kind of Will Ferrell type. It's not.
Yeah,
Risky
it's
Business
not.
is
It's not.
not that kind of film. And it's a film, like I said again, that wouldn't be made today. It's too dreamlike,
No.
it's surreal, it's I'll say it's intense. I'll use that word. It's intense. He kind of gets in deep with the wrong people again, playing this everyman, or in this case, he plays basically like a high school kid, I think, or maybe just early college. I can't remember, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
I think it's like early college.
Yeah,
There's a
but
line in that movie that I say all the time is sometimes you just gotta say what the
yes,
I
exactly.
say that all the
I mean,
time,
think
yeah.
about all those movies, these
Yeah.
iconic, quotable films.
Yeah.
And that's another great cast. One of
Yeah.
my favorite actors. He's not really around anymore. Joe Politano. I can't think. Oh, it's an Italian guy. He's in The Matrix. He's has
Oh,
a
Joe Pantoliano.
yes, him.
Yeah.
He's in Bad Boys. He's like the head cop.
Yeah.
When he's great. Love
Yeah.
his voice. Empire of the Sun. He's in that too. Love that guy's voice. But yeah, Risky Business, folks. If you haven't seen it, they don't make movies like that anymore. Like I said, and
No.
Tom Cruise, like I said, it's his breakout role. That's what put him on the map. And that's a movie. It's a movie that puts you on the map. It's not like some kind of silly comedy. It's like a real surreal. I think that director only directed that one film. That's the guy's. It's his only film. That director.
Hmm.
Um, and
Well, if you're gonna go out with a bang.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, but just folks, I mean, those are my main picks. And guys, I mean, I have so many other favorites. We can be here all day. Um, but
Oh yeah.
just to just go through, just to name his other hits, or just well-known movies. The movie Legend, that's a movie with Ridley Scott. He plays basically like
Hmm.
a, I'll say like a it's a movie's basically fantasy. He fights the devil to save unicorns. Tim
Yep.
Curry plays the devil in that awesome makeup in that film. Cocktail, another classic.
Another great
Even a movie
classic.
like that, I mean, I guess you could
Yeah.
make it today, but it'd be very. I mean, that movie's cheesy, but I, hey, you have star power, you have charisma, it can really make it.
Yeah.
They can make or break a film, and
Yep.
he's got it. I mean, that's a fun movie. Rain Man, would even talk about that with
I
Dustin
know. How do we
Hoffman.
not talk about
Right,
that?
a different kind of role. Another movie that I have not seen that I want to see that does take place in Long Island, where we're from, folks, is Born on the Fourth of July. That's considered one of
Yeah,
his.
I never seen that either.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the Days of Thunder, like we said, Few Good Men. Um,
I actually really love The Last Samurai.
yes, yes, I put Magnolia on here. I mean these are all directors who were excellent. We said Kubrick, um, um, Scorsese. What's this guy's Paul Thomas Anderson? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, crazy stuff. Minority Report. Collateral. That's with Michael
War of the
Mann.
Worlds. War of the Worlds with
Spielberg.
Spielberg.
Yeah. Valkyrie. My brother loves the movie Valkyrie. Like I said, some of the action comedies, Night and Day. Oblivion, great science fiction film. Edge of Tomorrow. I love that
Yep.
movie. So good. Um, yeah, and look, folks. Yes, he has some clunkers in there.
Those Reacher movies are really good too,
Yeah.
when he plays Reacher.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, does it have clunkers for sure? Like The
Everyone does.
Mummy,
Every actor
but
does.
still, I mean, his catalog is insane. Yeah, and I just want to point out, PJ, I wrote in my, I don't want to forget about this, but there's a, it's not a good movie. It's one of his stinkers. It's called Far and Away. It's with Nicole Kidman. I think they were just freshly
Hmm.
married. They basically play like Irish immigrants, and I forgot what it is. I don't know what they're doing, but I think it's takes place during like the Civil War. I can't even remember. But anyway, there's a famous scene now that would not be, this scene would not be filmed today because he actually punches a horse in the face. So
Your wish to fight.
Yes, that's true, folks. Yep. If you want to see Tom Cruise punch a
Punch
horse
a horse.
in the face, it's in that movie. And like I said, that would definitely not happen today. The movie's not about animal abuse. I think in the movie, I think the horse would be very stubborn, and he punches him, gives him a right hook. So I'm not advocating or promoting animal violence or anything, but it's one of those scenes you're just like, what? It's just you have to see to believe. And that's
Yeah.
from Far and Away.
He did go crazy for a little while and jump on Oprah's couch.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has his other icon. Like I said, he's a flawed man like anybody else,
Yeah.
and love can do that to you. Silence.
Yeah.
Apparently, Scientology can do that to you too. So, um, actually, when I went to LA, I walked past one of the I guess churches, whatever I think they're called, like
Yeah.
churches, and not
Yeah.
that anything happened to me or anything, but you know, it was there.
They didn't try to recruit you?
No, 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 no. I saw some people like protesting. I think a few people.
Yeah.
But.
I
Mhm.
I was going to a show in the city. It was on Broadway. I think it might have been Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I'm not sure.
Mm.
It was one of them, and it was across the street from like a Scientology center in the city.
Yep.
And there was a protest going on while we were there, and they were protesting. The whole street was like closed off.
Mhm.
People with picketing and signs, and down with Scientology. People had like "Death to Tom Cruise" signs in front of like this. I don't know if they're called centers or churches, whatever they
Yeah.
call them. I'm like, this is wild. What's happening right now?
Yeah.
I'm just here to. The police were there to like monitor it and like keep these people back, and it was just a mess. It's amazing the reaction that I don't know anything about it other than I watched Leia Ramini's documentary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it didn't seem like a great time to be part of that church.
Yeah.
But you just
Right.
who am I to judge?
What's next for Tom Cruise? Because I was telling you, PJ, before we started, like, this is a big turning point of his career. He's just wrapped up the last Mission Impossible. So where is he? And he's an older man now. He's 62. So do I think he's still going to make some action films here and there? Obviously, I think you said they're making Top Gun 3, but I think what he does want, PJ, is his Oscar. I think he's definitely going to go back into some
Yep.
dramatic roles. I wrote some people who I think he could, who he it was where he can get potentially that that statue. That's working with Tarantino, um,
Uh-huh.
Christopher Nolan. I put David Fincher. I put David Ayer. That's the guy who did like Suicide Squad, but he has some
Yeah.
films under his belt. Good writer. Darren Aronofsky. That's the guy who did like Black Swan, Requiem for a
Yeah.
Dream. And also Antoine Fuqua. It's the guy who did like Training Day and Southpaw,
Mhm.
like that kind of tone. And I think he would
Okay.
match well with them. But yeah, he's never won an Oscar. He's won Golden Globes. He won it for Magnolia, which another film I never seen but highly regarded.
Yeah.
But yeah, PJ, where does Tom go from now? Where, like I said, I think he's obviously might lean more
I
towards the dramatic. But what do you think?
I
Mhm.
think there's a strong case that if they ever come out with another Expendables, he's going to be in it.
Okay, yeah, that's
I
fair.
think he's reached that age at this point where now like
Hmm.
he could be the young guy in the Expendables. You know what I mean? Like that could kind of work for him.
Yeah.
I definitely think he'll do some dramatic roles and hunt down that Oscar, see what he can do.
Hmm.
I would not be surprised if we see him go into some directing.
Oh, yes, yes, that's yeah.
He's made so many great movies.
Hmm.
He has to have
Yeah,
an idea
yeah,
of how to
yeah,
set up a shot and
yeah.
tell a
That's a
story.
fair point.
I wouldn't be surprised if he transitions
Yeah,
into directing.
yeah, yeah.
He really hasn't done any yet. I think he
No.
directed a TV show, one episode of like a TV show or something like that. I think I saw in his IMDb credits, but he's
Mhm.
never directed anything. But I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised to
yeah.
see him go that route.
Yeah, and he might go more in even like that's a great point. He's very into producing. Like I think
Yep.
a lot of his contracts, I think he said, and even starting with Top Gun, he says, I want a part of my deal is I can sit on, I can just sit in. I'm not going to be a part. I
Yep.
think now he can have more of a voice, but he always wanted to know about not just the filmmaking process, but like
The business
making.
process.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. The making of a film is totally different from
Yep.
filmmaking. So, yeah, I think he can go into producer realm. Um. Yeah, I also think he's gonna do. I wouldn't be surprised he does some more comedic stuff. Like that
He's
old.
good at it. He's
Yeah,
very entertaining.
yeah. And I feel like I put in my notes. I'm like, he could be a guy that brings comedies back because right now comedies are like they are dead. And if there are any comedies, they're just streamed to Netflix or some kind of streaming. And there's a like I call it like a commercial gloss. It doesn't have that zip. Like I enjoyed
Mhm.
the last Beverly Hills Cop. It was fine. It was cute, but there's like a something tonally. Adam Sandler. I'm a little about the new Happy Gilmore. I'm a little.
Did you see the trailer for that new Happy Gilmore? Came out last
I
night.
didn't see it, man. I actually did. I kind of avoided it basically because I don't.
Yeah.
Like I said in my other, I forgot which episode that I think our preview for the summer of this year, 2025. I said that I would love, um, instead of having him go and shoot a McGavin again, that he would do like a Rocky where he would have to get Shooter to help him train to be this
Right.
new villain. I think that'd be more. I mean, who am I? But anyway, it
I,
seems like
you
it's
know
gonna
what?
be like
Based on the trailer, it's a possibility that something like that may happen
Oh,
based
okay.
on
I
the
didn't see
trailer.
it, so
but
maybe I predicted it right.
but I'm watching it and I'm just shaking my head because I'm like, I'm not laughing at the trailer. I'm just like, oh no, I don't know.
But see, that makes me nervous too.
Yeah,
Like,
you should watch it.
no, I planned it. I didn't
just
know. Last night
yeah.
was at a concert, and then I got home.
Yeah.
And the Knicks lost, so I feel like
They
I
did
watch
because they did that Netflix event
yeah.
last night, that
Mhm.
dumb thing,
Yeah.
whatever they were calling it, and they dropped the trailer for Stranger Things and they dropped the trailer for Happy Gilmore.
Right. I actually saw
And the Tom. I know it's a Tom Cruise episode, but this was just talking about Adam Sandler. Just real quick, I don't know what happened. I think he forgot how to be funny.
Yeah, yeah. Or I think he doesn't want to do those roles anymore, and he just
Yeah.
has to like phone it in because he's done like Uncut Gems. He could, when he wants to turn it on, he could do
Yeah.
it. But I did see the trailer. Actually, this does tie into Tom Cruise because they want to do a dark universe. I saw the trailer for Frankenstein, by Guillermo del Toro. It looks pretty cool. I'm actually a little mixed on it, but
I didn't see that one yet.
yeah, it looks okay. I can't think of the actor's name. Oscar Isaac, I think, plays Victor Frankenstein. PJ, I think my last question is Tom Cruise the last movie star?
The last movie star.
That's what they call him in the papers now.
That's a good question.
And-
The last movie star.
Mhm.
I don't know that he's the last movie star, but I think movie stars are a dying breed, and he's one of the last.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
trying to
he's-
think of
I-
there's no younger up and coming
Yeah,
actor that can touch a Tom Cruise.
Yeah, you know what it is? I was trying to figure it out. I was like, when I wrote that question for us, I was like, why are they saying that? Why is he the last? And like obviously you have like I guess Timothy Chalamet, right? He's becoming in the realms
Yeah.
of like a well-known actor now, and you know, but I said, "What's that? What is it?" And I think I know what it is, PJ. I think there's still an air of mystery to Tom Cruise. That's what makes a movie star
Hmm.
is that mystery. Guys like Leonardo DiCaprio said it. De Niro, a lot of big. I think Meryl Streep. This is the less you know about me personally, the more believable I am on film. A
Right.
lot of actors did that. Obviously, with social media now, some of them, some go in that realm. They do that, which is fine. And they're able to pull it off. But I think Tom still has that, even though we know about some of his wife and his kids, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There is something like you don't really know the real Tom Cruise, and I think. Kind of like DiCaprio, we know who's his dating life, blah blah blah. But there's still an
Yeah.
air of mystery to these guys. I
Yep.
think that's what the difference is. Like, you know, a guy like
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet, he's at the Knicks game. There's nothing wrong with that, but like, he's not gonna have that kind of thing that Tom Cruise has.
I'm gonna say something you're gonna disagree with
Uh-oh.
wholeheartedly, but I think the only, and to use the word young is not the right word, but the next generation of superstars, actors, right? The next movie star, outside of like your Stallones and your Tom Cruises and your George Clooney's and everything else, is The Rock.
I know you're gonna say that. No, I'm not. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
He,
I know you're not a big fan of
Yeah.
his work, but he has that aura,
yeah,
that
no,
larger than life personality. When you see him on stage, you're like, look at this guy, commanding presence. People do want to watch what he's doing. They,
yeah.
they look at this guy as this is bigger than everyone else.
Mhm.
You look at
That's
Timothy
fair.
Chalamet, you
That's
don't
fair.
think of him as I don't think of Timothy Chalamet as like a leading Hollywood movie star at all. It's just he doesn't have that persona. He doesn't have that charisma.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think both of these
Nah.
are fair. I think I said Timothy because like he's
Yeah.
trying. He said it in his awards,
Yeah.
and he's trying to get those roles. I think he's a very good actor. I'm saying it for any actor
Yeah.
or actress,
Yeah.
it's hard to get that aura, and I think you have to
Yeah.
have a bit of mystery. Even The Rock, I think, even though as much as there is a part we don't know the real Rock. He's still
Right.
He's always the Rock, even though he's
The
Dwayne
Rock.
Johnson. He's always putting
Yep.
on a persona.
Yep.
You don't know. I heard someone say it's kind of like with Batman or in Clark Kent. They're the only characters who. I don't want to get totally sidetracked here, but it kind of reminds me of I think Tom Cruise and The Rock fit this like Batman and Superman, where there's actually three guys in those characters. You have Batman, right? You have
Yep.
Bruce Wayne, right? You have Clark Kent, right? But
Right.
Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, there's the public Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne.
Persona. It's still a mask.
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
there's the real
Then there's the real one.
Clark Kent and
Right.
Bruce Wayne, where
Right.
all the other ones we don't have that in terms of, and I think Tom
Well,
Cruise
they
and The Rock
always
have
say-
that those three
They always
faces.
say with Superman, exactly what you're saying. They always say with Superman is a secret identity
Yep.
because he's Superman.
Mhm.
Clark Kent is another secret identity as Clark Kent. The real Clark Kent is the one that lives on Smallville.
Yeah.
Like the one that lives on where he's not Superman. He's not putting on a pair of glasses.
Yep.
To be Clark Kent. He's just by himself on his farm. Like that's the real guy.
Yep.
No one knows what Tom Cruise is like when he goes home to his Scientology lab. No one knows.
Yeah.
No one knows who he is.
Yeah. PJ was a nice retrospect with Tom's career doing this
Yes.
with you. And folks, you can literally like put all this like on a giant like wheel and spin it, and it land in a film. You could watch it, you'll enjoy it. Like that's
It'll
how
be good.
is.
You'll be
Yeah,
entertained.
There's more hits, way more hits than misses with Tom Cruise films. But yeah. Anything else, Mr. PJ?
No, I think that covers the career of Tom Cruise.
And PJ, one more thing. You can ride my tail anytime, okay? Same time, same table.
Have a good one.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.